Hi, Phil Aston here from Now Spinning Magazine with episode 4 of the Jethro Tull Super Deluxe Edition box set reviews and stuff. Now, I have actually covered Aqualung before, where I went into more detail about the different versions that I got, but I felt that I should revisit it as part of this series. So this, in a way, you could class as a remastered version of looking at Aqualung, perhaps. But the journey for Aqualung in this series was that it began as an album size super deluxe box. It was about £100. And so it was left alone. When this series started to pan out, people started saying, where is it? And of course they reissued Benefit. So it was only a matter of time, in fact, that Aqualung would get this attention. And it is brilliant. And it's probably, it sold out very, very quickly. So let's have a look inside, and I will touch on other bits as well before coming back at the end and talking about Aqualung itself. So here we go. So now on to Aqualung, which I've covered in a separate video, which is going to be included in the playlist for this, but I'll just touch base for those of you who want to just get some quick overview before I go on to the deluxe set. The vinyl version, the easiest one to find, is the blue chrysalis label one. It's still got a textured sleeve, and this was the first one I bought. And I never thought the sound was great on that. Okay, I just never did. And the first CD reissue, I think this is quite hard to find, but again, I wouldn't get too hung up about trying to find it. This is a 25th anniversary edition. Had a long style, a wider booklet with notes at the time, and it was remastered, but it wasn't that much better. I don't think anyway. It was just the album as it was. The next one, if you don't want to find, you can't find the deluxe edition, which I'm going to show you now, is the 2-disc version, which you can find. My disc has fallen out there. And this is the additional recordings, 70-71, and also Aqualung with the Stephen Wilson mix. And that comes with a quite informative little booklet. When I say quite, compared with the deluxe edition, obviously it's a lot shorter and smaller, but it's good stuff. And it's this version, for you vinyl enthusiasts, that you can get the 2011 mix from on vinyl. And it's a gatefold sleeve as the original was, but what makes this different is you get an absolutely enormous version of the booklet in it as well. So I thought that was a great touch. So that's that vinyl version, but this video series is all about these. So this came out a lot later, 40th anniversary edition, and adapted, because it was an enormous super deluxe edition, almost the same size as the Tommy by the Who and Quadrophenia giant album size box sets. But again, there was demand from the fans that this should also follow the format of the other deluxe series, and this is when this appeared. And it's an 80-page book, Stephen Wilson stereo remix, associated recordings on disc 2. So it's still very, very worthy collection. You've got 4 discs as well with the DVDs as well. So I'll quickly go through that. As I say, I've covered this in a separate video, but this is to keep this in the series. The artwork, the continuity, the fonts used fitting with the album, and I think this gives you all the information you would like to have about the Aqualung album and how it fits in with the music scene at the time in 1971. At 1971, I was still listening to Slade and T-Rex and The Sweet. It would be a few years before I actually discovered Jethro Tull, and this was the first Jethro Tull album I ever bought in the late 70s. Some great photographs, memories of Jethro Tull, Martin Barr, Clive Bunker, John Evans, Jeffrey Hammond, great contemporary photos I love these photos taken like this. These are kind of snapshots that you wouldn't find anywhere else. All the lyrics, again, all the font is used from the album sleeve is there. Then the chronological order of the gigs, some great handwritten notes. Little clips as well from press cuttings. The recording of Aqualung with John Burns. You know, just this great historical documents talking back about the time, what it was like, the technology that was available, and notes on the new mixes from Stephen Wilson. Some great press cuttings there and memorabilia. And then we're there. So you've got, as I say, you've got the DVD 2 contains the flat transfer original stereo master. So you've got the original as well. You've also got the quad version and the 5.1 mix as well. So that's Aqualung. So Aqualung 1971. At last, a version that sounds as good as the legend of the album would suggest that it is. As I said at the start, I always thought it sounded a very kind of dense, muddy album. A bit like, I mentioned that with Benefits as well. But Stephen Wilson's very subtle remix on this, and that's what he's like. That's why Stephen Wilson gets this job. I know some people go, oh, not Stephen Wilson again. The reason he does this is he doesn't want to stamp his own name all over everything. He does it in a way that just brings up stuff that was just beneath the surface. You get the flat masters as well if you want to stick to the original, but I think it sounds brilliant. This was the album, wasn't it? You know, Iron Maiden covered Cross-Eyed Mary. You know, a lot of these tracks, my God, Aqualung obviously itself were played in rock discos up and down the land. You know, what a great riff. You know, the acoustic stuff. You know, it's not a concept album, although it certainly comes across as one. I think Ian always says it isn't. And, you know, and the artwork. What band could have that as an image and still do really, really well? But it is one of the classic prog albums of all time, and it is one of the best Jethro Tull albums. It isn't one of the ones I play the most, and you'll know what that is in a few episodes' time. But this is well worth seeking out. So as an alternative, I mean, try and get the vinyl one, which you saw, which comes with the big booklet, or the 2 CD version if you can't find this. But do try and find it. And you never know the amount of people that talk about these super deluxe editions. The Jethro Tull series, this hardback book format, is some of them no doubt will get small repressings, but the repressings I think will become more and more specialised. There'll be less of them and the price will be higher anyway. So if you see these as they come out of the series, grab them while you can. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you for being here with Now Spinning Magazine as I do the series, which I'm absolutely loving. As I say, this will turn into a playlist when I've got to the other end. And I'd like to thank Chris and Clive and Yogi and all my patrons for all your support and helping me and inspiring me to keep doing these videos and to grow the channel and everything that Now Spinning does. And I shall see you on my next video.